interested in some more details, we'll go ahead and schedule a follow-up. We'll start with a little bit of background, and that background of Relational Solutions is, as Karen mentioned, we started the company back in 1996. The focus back then was on data warehousing and data integration. So we used to build data warehouses for all industries, and we started focusing on the consumer goods space back in 2000, so about 17 years ago. And the reason that we did that was because of the added complexity that consumer goods manufacturers had, and that was the integration not only of internal data, but all the external data sources, including POS data from retailers, syndicated data from third-party data providers, data coming from places like IMS for pharmaceutical companies, NPD for hardline companies. There were all sorts of, weather trend information, CDC information. So we had the additional issues associated with integrating outside data. So that led us to develop our solution called POS Smart. And POS Smart was designed specifically for consumer goods manufacturers that had that issue with additionally integrating outside data sources. From there, and a lot of retailers didn't share much data back then, so we would use their shipments and order information. And today we find we're still doing that as well for some companies, especially when we're integrating emerging market data that doesn't really have point-of-sale data. But the architecture is designed like a data warehouse that allows you to grow and change with the business, which allows us to account for ever-changing environments, whether they're emerging markets or whether they're internal things such as acquisitions of companies or spin-offs. For the past, I'd say 12 or 14 years, we've won Consumer Goods Technology Awards. So Consumer Goods Technology has awarded us with a variety of different awards within their company. And we've also received awards from Gartner and BI Visionary Awards. We've been acknowledged by IBM as one of their strategic partners, as well as Teradata and SAP. Today, as Karen mentioned, we're owned by Mindtree, but we still partner with all of the relational and all of the big data database companies and with all BI tools as well. So we left the architecture very open. At a glance, Mindtree focuses in 4 key areas. Obviously, the retail and CPG space is their largest space, and that's one of the reasons that they acquired us, because they wanted that architecture to be able to offer to their customers. We do over $700 million in revenue and have over 17,000 consultants throughout the country, or throughout the world. Our office is based in Cleveland, Ohio, and we are their center of excellence for analytics and integration. We are also a delivery center for all of those, for those areas as well. One of our teachings for our customers, and if you were at POI, you probably heard this, and this slide will look familiar to you. First, what we do is we focus on the actual data and integrating the data and making sure that the data that you're reporting off of is clean, valid, and reliable. And that starts the continuum of analytics. But without clean, reliable, integrated data, you're really reporting off of information that you don't know is factual. A lot of companies will report strictly off point-of-sale data or strictly off of shipment data. The issue with that is point-of-sale data gets recast. It's also a point in time, and it's also a, you might be buying the data from, say, Nielsen and getting those reports on a monthly basis, but that doesn't really help you if you're getting reports from October on November 7th, and you're running a promotion and you need to analyze that promotion in flight. So what we do is that information is still valuable. You want to grab that information from Nielsen, and if you like their measurements, we want to be able to use that data. But you may decide you just want to buy that base information, that base point-of-sale data, and maybe spend the money on things like competitive information, because competitive information is also very, very necessary in analyzing your trade promotions. So what we do is we focus on integrating that point-of-sale data that you can get daily from the different retailers, and we integrate that with your internal master data. And then we also integrate the third-party data. In trade, we're usually integrating IRI, Nielsen, or NPD. So that's very common for us. We integrate that data, we harmonize it, and then we apply the different measures that we have to create business intelligence for you. With business intelligence, To us, that's the basic reporting and analytics that any company needs. So we need to be able to see what's selling, where it's selling, how it's selling, and we need to do that in a timely manner. Insight generation is where we then apply predictive analytics, where we've got that intelligence, and now we're saying, what is likely to happen next? Can we predict where we're going to be out of stock? And we do that by leveraging different algorithms that we've built into our data model. And from there, we take it then to the next level, which is prescriptive analytics. So once we're getting you those insights and predicting things for you, we can then take it to a prescriptive level where we're saying, here's what we recommended, here's what your people in the field actually did. Let's learn from that. What is actually the most optimal thing for you to be doing, and then we'll prescribe those things. Prescriptive analytics actually involves machine learning, and we've got algorithms built in to help you not only understand what you should be doing and what is likely to happen, but make recommendations on what you should be doing and prescribing solutions to the actual problem. So together with Mindtree, because they have a very, very strong focus in digital, we're able to really address a lot of different areas within the CPG industry. So we're not only providing that DSR where we're developing that single source of truth for point of sale data, but we're able to develop reports that incorporate all sorts of predictive and prescriptive analytics. We can analyze your trade. Our solutions for that are TradeSmart and PromoPro, which you're going to see. We can leverage digital marketing, so we're not only performing digital marketing tasks for you, we can even pull in the results of that digital marketing. And that includes everything from clickstream analytics to analyzing, not only where the people went on your page to come to the actual purchase, but also analytics coming from places like Amazon or other, e-tailers that may be selling your products. With this ability, we're really addressing the entire omni-channel. And by leveraging digital with actual POS data and your internal data, we're addressing the whole spectrum of omni-channel and allowing you to analyze what your customers and what your prospects are doing digitally as well. And along with that, we're able to assist with supply chain analytics. So if your supply chain people want to see where within the route different issues might be occurring, well, we've got all that data there now. We not only have the shipment information and the order information, we have the POS data, the trade analytics, and we can identify where in the supply chain issues might be occurring by bringing in all that information, including DC level information. So we'll talk about a couple of case studies, and I just have this quick snapshot, but this is different areas where we address for some of our customers. Where Relational Solutions tends to focus is more on this side of the board here. We're doing the digital marketing. We're assisting in integration of that digital marketing. We're doing trade promotion analytics. We're leveraging TPM solutions that are out there. We also develop custom TPM solutions. We don't actually have a TPM solution per se. We partner with a lot of companies, but usually we're pulling data from TPM solutions because 90% of our customers already have some sort of a TPM solution in place. But we'll pull trade plan data into our architecture along with the POS data and the cost of goods sold and shipments to help you analyze your trade on a daily basis. We're also doing BI analytics, and these are some of the customers that we're doing that for, and prescriptive and predictive analytics for some of our other customers too. As far as what we're doing in the trade with some of our customers, we can go into some additional description on what we're doing. At a very high level, we can't actually describe what we're doing for our customers specifically, but those are some of our high-end customers that we are doing trade promotion optimization and post-event analytics for. So it all starts with integrating the accurate and integrating the data that's coming from all of the different sources. And those sources can be Nielsen, IRI. This is just an example, obviously. They can be retailers anywhere from, and we integrate data, whether it's food, drug, mass, department stores, specialty stores. To us, it's just data. And we tend to be getting that data in either EDI 852 files, some sort of EDI format, a CSV file, a text file. We might be getting it from your internal systems, which might already be storing it in Oracle or SQL Server or SAP somewhere. We can access all of those different data sources. What we typically like with point of sale data is to grab the data directly from the retailer, even before it goes through a third party like Nielsen. We prefer to grab things like the competitive data from Nielsen, and we prefer to grab data directly from the retailer before it's been manipulated in any way, because that way we can ensure that it is the data directly coming from them. Because what we do, and by the way, all of these places provide their own reports. You've got data coming from Retail Link. You've got, you can access your shipment data in most cases. You can access Nielsen data through their portals. But when an analyst is trying to pull together data, they are stuck going to all of these different sources, clean and validate these data sources, and bring them all together and try and align it with your internal master data. Well, that becomes difficult because not only do you have different calendars internally, but the retailers have their own calendars. And Walmart's calendar is different than Target's calendar, and that's different typically than your own internal calendar. And you get data late from a Nielsen or an IRI, and by the way, they've already put it in their own terms. So what we do is we take all of the data that's coming from these different sources, and when an analyst, by the way, is stuck going to all of these different sources to gather and create reports, they're spending about 90% of their time, according to Gartner, just doing these 4 tasks: gathering, cleaning, integrating, and then justifying. And that's a really important one, because once they've created those reports and submit them to management, well, this guy's report doesn't match this guy's report, and it doesn't match her report. There's questions about whose data is correct, and those questions go right back to the analyst who's stuck justifying where they came up with those numbers. So about 90% of an analyst and a data scientist time is spent pulling together that information instead of actually analyzing it. So the reason that it's so difficult to streamline that integration is because of some of the things that we just talked about. You've got different data elements coming from the different retailers. You've got it coming in different formats. You've got different calendar issues, different week end dates, different promotions running at different retailers. You've got constantly changing conditions. You've got retailers that are selling stores. You've got other retailers that are buying those stores. You've got different economic conditions going on. You've got hurricanes occurring in one location and they're not occurring in other locations. Well, you've got management that might decide at one retailer that they're now going to focus on a different category. You're subject to the changes of everyone, whether they're one retailer, 20 retailers, 100 retailers. Anything that an analyst has been able to automate through potentially a macro breaks as soon as the retailer decides, oh, you know what, now we're going to start sending you inventory on hand. We didn't used to provide that information to you. Oh, now we're going to start selling some things through a DC, or now we're going to start accepting direct store deliveries. So you are subject to whatever change every single retailer makes. You're also subject to whatever change your own internal management makes. Maybe your internal management decides you're going to acquire another company, or you're going to focus in a different area, or you decide you're going to get a new CEO who has a different focus entirely than the last CEO. So there's all sorts of issues with that. You've got the issues also associated with the data itself. If you're getting data from CVS and they suddenly send you recast data from last February that's screwed up your whole last quarter's reports, how are you going to account for that? How are you going to recast that data? And how are you going to do that efficiently where you're not having to go back and suddenly you have to recreate all the reports from Q1 of this year? So anytime there's a change on that space, everything that an analyst did do to create automation is broken. On top of that, if you've got analysts that are creating reports for your category managers or your trade managers for certain retailers, and now those retailers or those individuals change. That person was now promoted, and now you've got a new trade manager. Well, that trade manager wants to see the reports differently than the other trade manager wanted to see them. You're stuck every single time. You're subject to every single change that occurs, and it makes integrating that point of sale so difficult. So what we do is we streamline that POS process, where we're automating the integration of that point of sale and third-party data so that these reports don't necessarily go away, but we're automating the integration of that data, and then we're loading it into the POS Mart database on a nightly basis. And you might ask, well, how is that even possible? Well, we've written over 200 cleansing processes to handle things like UPC digit issues. Where you might have some retailers that padded on the front end or padded on the back end. You might have certain new items that come through. We've already written the processes to identify new items and send a single message to you, hey, this one doesn't have a description in here yet. You plug it in once, from there on it goes through our management process, and that issue doesn't occur again. But we automate the integration and cleansing of all the different data sources, put it into a data model that's easy to access, easy to analyze, and designed for analytics and for pushing reports out, so that end users can now query and create new reports easily, and that information that gets sent to management is consistent. If there's questions about that data, it can easily be tracked to where that came from, and therefore we're leading to much more productive meetings. So we are really streamlining that integration process and creating many, many efficiencies within the company, and saving a lot of time, freeing the analysts up to actually analyze their data. What we automate is the integration of various data sources, so that consumption data along with your master data, and oftentimes when I have other here, it's shipment data and trade plan data. By automating this integration, we stage that data, we align the information with your internal information, we cross-reference your retailer item numbers with your own internal numbers, and then we load it into the POS Smart Foundation. And then you'll see the Trade Smart Foundation in one slide here. But we can push out reports that support POS analytics, and we provide a interface called Control Center to those teams who are responsible for managing point-of-sale data, so that they can see, oh, look, these ones came through, it didn't have a proper description, let's add that proper description, and the next time that data loads, it'll be loaded with all the accurate information. With TradeSmart, we're integrating those data sources, but we also integrate your plan data from your TPM solution. If you don't have a TPM solution and you're managing that on spreadsheets, we can integrate that as well. We're pulling in the cost of goods sold, your shipments, your baseline. And by the way, some companies say they don't like their baseline. We offer our own baseline included with our infrastructure. But if you'd rather use IRI's baseline or some Sequoia's baseline or another baseline or a baseline that you created, we would integrate that as well. And then other information. So sometimes people want us to integrate weather trends, for example. So we pull in all of those necessary, these are the necessary data sources here that are listed. Blue Sky Integration Studio is the engine that automates that integration. And that is a tool that we developed years ago with our data warehousing experience to kind of cooperate with the existing data warehouse sources that you might have. So if your company already has a data warehouse, we will complement that data integration solution that you currently have. But this is designed to integrate those sources that those generic tools are not designed to handle. We've pre-written all of the cleansing and validation processes. We used to do this by scratch from company to company, and then that's when we developed our POS Smart and Trade Smart solutions back in the early 2000s, because it was taking way too long to integrate even a single retailer. Now we can get a retailer with history integrated in about a 2-week time frame. So it's a very fast go-to-market for us. We can also then stage that data, and that's where all the harmonization's occurring. We're conforming the different retailer numbers with yours. We're analyzing that data. We're applying the business rules. We're applying those different cleansing processes, and then loading it into the Trade Smart Foundation. That Trade Smart Foundation leverages that point-of-sale data, as well as integrates those other necessary data sources, including plans. By doing that, we can leverage daily POS to measure the effectiveness of your promotions in flight, so that we can look at yesterday's sales and compare them with the plans and with the shipments, and we can see, well, why isn't this performing yet? Why are we not seeing a bump yet? Well, maybe that display arrived a day late. And with that, if we discover that something's arrived late, we have an interface called Promo Pro. And Promo Pro allows us to make adjustments to things like ship date, or maybe to things like maybe you wanted to group promotions into a single event. Maybe you've got 3 different tactics going on at a single retailer, and you want to group those into a single event and measure the promotion of or the effectiveness of that promotion as a single event. You can do that through Promo Pro. Then we're also using Blue Sky Analytics to do your trade analytics, and I'll show you some quick examples of that as well. It looks like the outcome is an Excel report, not necessarily. We use any BI tool, and we can push it out through Tableau. Some people like using Excel still, so we do have an Excel plugin for it, but we use Tableau, Qlik, Business Objects, Cognos. We've got our own BI tool called Blue Sky Analytics, or any combination thereof, because we leave this architecture open. So you're using our interface to manage that data, but the architecture to do any kind of reporting or analytics is open to any BI tool. You'll see Blue Sky Analytics today, though. So that underlying architecture, our Smart Suite architecture, includes POS Mart, which is doing all of that cleansing and integration. We've got the retailer mappings built right in. We've got those integration processes, the validation routines. We've also got the ability to integrate not only the retailer data, but any internal data source, which could be on any of these database platforms. We can also leverage our data model. The data model that we have built in allows for easy access to information, but it also has the different retail calendars built in. And what the value of that is you can report back to the retailers back on their terms as well as your own terms. So your Q1 is maybe different than their Q1, or their weekend date might be different than your weekend date. When you're talking to them about the effectiveness of their promotions, they want to see it on their terms. But yet your internal management wants to see it on your own calendar terms. So we've got those different retail calendars built in. For certain teams, depending on whether you're part of your sales team or marketing team or category management team, we've got a report matrix that basically includes a lot of different measures. So we can take a retailer that's only providing very basic information from, say, maybe 5 fields. Maybe they're only providing 5 basic fields. We've got our measures built into our data model that can automatically do things like calculate potential out of stocks if we've got the right data sources integrated. But we've got over 200 measures built in to really enrich that data and give you a much more complete view of your information. Our user interface, again, is called Blue Sky Analytics. That's the power user tool for creating ad hoc reports. We've got a viewer that allows them to just look at the data, and then we've got our dashboard that presents and pushes out the information. We've also got the control center that allows you to edit POS data. And then with the TradeSmart data model that leverages that POS model, we've got the same user interfaces, but we also have Promo Pro, which allows you to manage your trade data. And again, what makes it all work is this underlying integration engine where all of those cleansing and validation processes occur. I'm not going to get real technical. Sometimes IT people want to see this, and we're happy to show it to them. But what it does is on a nightly basis, it identifies new data, it grabs it, it extracts it, it runs it through our validation processes. It enriches that data with any new measures that we have. It applies the business rules so that you're reporting off of consistent vernacular. And then we're loading that data into the database and pushing reports out to you while still giving you the ability to do ad hoc querying. The implementation options, you can have this solution behind your firewall entirely, which some companies want to do. You can put it behind your firewall and have us manage it, or your own internal people can manage it. We can also put it in the cloud. And a lot of times business teams just want it in the cloud because that way they're avoiding involving IT, which then has to go through evaluation processes on what database they want to put it in and so forth. We can also do a hybrid. So if you've got some reasons why your team wants to manage certain data and they want us to manage others, we can cleanse the data here in our data center and push it back to your location. We can also do that conversely. Some of our service offerings, we do architecture reviews to help you identify what you need in your trade group. We do obviously the integration, DSR implementations, data warehousing and business intelligence. We also offer something called analytics as a service. So if your team, if you are low on resources for analytics, we provide the analytics services for you as well. Obviously we've got TradeSmart and POS Mart. We do digital analytics as well as digital implementations, and we do TPM and TPO implementations as well. So let me show you a quick demo. This is Blue Sky, and I pulled up a trade report so that you can see an example of where we're integrating different information. In this case, I'm looking at, I've got a filter on a specific market. In that case, I'm calling the retailers the market. I've got certain promoted product groups and the dates those were run. I've got filters on those dates, as you can see by this little funnel. But this report is basically showing me whether the event was positive or negative or potentially neutral. Now, in this case, we've set up business rules that it only gets an up arrow if the ROI for the customer is positive and their profit is positive, as well as for our own ROI is positive. So this column represents our own ROI, and this represents the ROI for our customer. If it's positive in both areas, it's getting an up arrow. If it's negative for the customer and positive for us, it's still getting a down arrow, because in joint business planning sessions, we want a win-win for both companies. Now, it's also showing us down here a chart where we can look at it, and in this case, we're looking at it by every other week, but we can look at the customer profit, the unit price, the shipments, the base volume, incremental base, the forecast. We're also bringing in this case, the trade spend, actual total share dollars, and actual promoted. Within our tool, we can actually go up and we can say, you know what, let's go ahead and show me all the headers. And I can see, you know, the different headers that are in here, and I can pull information into or out of this report. Maybe I want to pull out market. Well, I still have a funnel there. I want to look at it for Safeway instead of for Food Lion. And I can collapse these. And I can also, in this case, I've got my chart locked. I'm going to unlock that chart. So I want to look at customer margin just by these two items, and I want to put it into a pie chart. It's very easy to do. So everything that you highlight is dynamically charted below. Maybe I want to look at it in a line chart, and I want to compare my shipments to my forecast, and then I'm going to put that, or I can look at it by base volume. I can look at a variety of different things here. So this is not a whole lot of information here for me to do that. Maybe I want to go in and I want to look at all, and I want to pull market back in. Collapse that, and I want to look at the customer margin in a pie chart. And I can see for Kroger, Safeway, Food Lion, Hannaford, all in a single chart. I can also go in, and if I'm just a viewer, I can go in and look at the results, you know, in a different way. This is by Kroger. Here we go by Safeway. This is by all markets. Within the Blue Sky Analytics, there's all sorts of other, you know, reports I could be showing here. I just opened one trade report to give you an idea. I can also go in and I can show you my Promo Pro. In Promo Pro, I've got a Family Dollar. These are my different promotions that I'm trying to change. So I might, here's the status. If I want to change something because I discovered that something wasn't shipped on time, I can go in and change that. But here's my different plans, and I opened up my Family Dollar. This is showing me my different promotions here. And if I want, I can take certain promotions by ID and I can group them into events, like I can group them into EDLC, EDLP, high-low, and I can look at the results of those. On the front, it tells me whether or not those groupings were approved, they're in progress, or if they've been reviewed. I'll go back here real quick. I can also look at my Gantt chart down here that shows the different promotions and when they're running. I can go in and I can say, you know what, I want to look at this including my shipment information. I want to pull out my competitors, or I can add my competitors. I can also go in and adjust that. I can change the time range, the brand, the plan. This is my Family Dollar plan. Here's my pack group. And I can see the report, the associated Blue Sky report along with that. I can also go in here and again, I can say shipments. I can change who my competitors are that I want to look at. By default, it takes your top 5 competitors, but I can go in and change that. I can also look at my event summary. I can look at my shipments. I have some dates based on each customer. They may want to gray out to allow or disallow the ability to edit certain information. But I can look at my shipment dates. I can enter my performance dates. And these are automatically pulled from your TPM system. But if you want to change those, every customer has different things they want to allow or disallow us to change. It shows my average weekly base, my non-EDLP base, total shipped cases, consumed cases, variance, for example, in here. I've got a lot of different information. I'm showing you 3 different things on one page right now. I've got key promotion dates, high-low information. So there's a lot of different things that I can edit and integrate right within this tool. And then I can also show my alignment detail. So here I can look at, right now I'm looking at some EDLP, and again, shipment date, performance dates are all right in here. Total event, my spend allocation. I can even go in, I've got my different case quantities, I've got different ability to do event tagging. I've even got the ability to upload images. So I can see, you know, and historically even see what the different promotions we're doing. So that's a very quick tour of our TradeSmart and Promo Pro applications. Oh, I'm sorry, I wanted to show you one other thing real quick. Oh, I timed out. But this is our dashboard, an example of a dashboard. Now, we've got our dashboard that we've designed. This is using ClickSense. It can use Tableau. But this is an example of where we're then leveraging that data and pushing it out to the field using a dashboard. And these are my different dashboards that I have available. And this one's showing a bump chart where I'm looking at, obviously, the base versus incremental. I can also go in and I can look at my promoted product groups. In this case, I'm looking at butter compared with wheat rolls, and the same here. I've also got different charts, and we can create and make this look like however you want it to look. I can also just click on a single item, Metro wheat rolls, and look at the performance of that. I can click on a single Loblaws here, and I can watch the reports change no matter what I click on. Maybe I want to get rid of Loblaws. So it changes dynamically, and there's different reports that I can go to as well, as you can see here. And again, this is just to give you a quick overview of the type of information that you're getting. We can look at this by event description, for example, in this case. And this is just really zooming in on the bump chart and getting into some more detail. And I just want to look at it by Loblaws. So that's really the overview of TradeSmart and Promo Pro, showing you a couple of different interfaces and the way you want to look at the data. We're happy to go into a more detailed demonstration for any of you. But with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to any questions you might have. I know we're a little over time, but if there are any questions.
Okay, thanks, Janet. That was a great overview. I want to say hi to Jennifer, and thanks for your question. She's asking if we already have a TPM that provides reports, what additional analytics can you provide?
So we don't actually sell a TPM solution. We can develop one homegrown for you, which is very common, especially if you're in an industry that is a kind of maybe a little bit more obscure, private label, for example. But if you personally, if you as a company already have a TPM solution and you're getting reports off of that, that's fine. The thing is they're providing you with reports based on the data that's in your TPM solution. What we're doing is we're taking it to the next level. We're integrating actual POS data on a daily basis, and we're integrating it with your actual cost of goods sold, and we're giving you the ability to group that to look at post-prevent analytics. So it's very complementary. We do not compete with TPM solutions, except for those customers who might want a custom-built application, and another vendor might want to sell you one directly. But we leverage that TPM data and provide a more broad set of information than just what you're getting.
Okay, I know we're over time, so any other questions, please feel free to email those to myself, Karen K @relationalsolutions.com. We'll make sure to get answers back to you. We did want to let you know that the webinar today will be recorded and available on YouTube. You can also visit us via LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. We appreciate all your feedback and look forward to connecting with you. If you are interested in seeing a full demo, let me know that as well, and we'll be happy to set up a one-on-one for your team and dive deeper into what TradeSmart can offer. Thanks again for your time today, and we look forward to keeping in touch.